On the day, I have discussed about liberalism and only about classical liberalism. So today I am going to discuss little bit about modern liberalism. Actually, I already told you that the concept of liberalism changed from time to time according to the changing situation, and so the modern liberalism is also a result of the changing perspective of the world. So what happened during the middle of the 19th century, the classical liberalism lost its appeal. Why it's lost its appeal? Because it was found that without the interference of the state in economic affairs, some negative aspects are developing in the society. The free competition in economic field and unregulated policy of the government, that means government is not regulating any economic matters, which created a situation where the capital concentrated in the hands of few capitalist people, and that is why mass poverty increases. Most of the people become poorer and poorer, and as a result of that, economic depression took place in 1929-30, which gave lesson that without state control, if there is no state control in the economic field, it is not possible to fulfill the needs of the common people. And that situation ultimately compelled some thinkers to rethink from different angles on the classical liberalism, and ultimately modern liberalism came into existence. So the thinkers of the modern liberalism, they have rejected the views of the classical liberalists about the limited and unregulated functions of the state in economic field. They said that it is not possible to establish a welfare state, or it is not possible to give justice to the people if the state remain aloof from the economic activities of the state. According to modern liberalists, for the common welfare of the people, there should be state interference, especially in the economic life of the people. The state should regulate and control the markets as well as regulate the production and distribution system of the country. So who are the opponents of modern liberalism? Most of them are like John Stuart Mill, Thomas Hill Green, then Lasky, etc. And the features of modern liberalism is that the first features already you came to know, that modern liberalism supports the representative form of government. That means the concept of welfare state is another important feature of modern democracy. That means the representative will be elected by the people and they will be responsible to the people. And as they are elected by the people, so people have faith on them, and that is why they can go for economic activities also. Then state should also, and they are also in favor of welfare state. That means welfare state is totally different from the state which actually developed by the classical liberalists. Their states were police state, but that means the modern liberalists, they were in favor of welfare state. That means they were in favor of expansion of the state activities. Then the state should also have some moral functions. It should remove all hindrances in the way of individual development. So state should not only protect the individual from external attack and internal disturbances, but state should always act as a guide, as their, what I can say, that as their guide, as their philosopher, and try to remove the hindrances which are creating trouble for the human being to develop their inner qualities. Then state is not an end but a means to the end. What the classical liberalists said, they said that state is only a means to an end, and they said that no, state has its own aim, own end. And what is the end of the state? What is the aim of the state? The aim of the state is to develop the personality of the individuals, and if they are interested to develop the personality of their own citizens, they should have to enjoy enough power, because without enough power they cannot equally develop all the citizens belonging to various classes. Then Modern liberalism stress the state-regulated economy instead of free market economy. They said that competition should not be free. There should be some regulations, there should be some restrictions from the state. Otherwise, in the free competition, only the theory of survival of the fittest will exist. And last one is economic field. The state should minimize the gap between the rich and the poor. So state must have to enjoy some economic power. State must have to interfere in the economic life of the people or economic activities of the people, so that through taxation and other measures or by giving subsidies to the poor people, they may at least remove the gap between the rich and the poor. So this is all about modern liberalism. But now we are living in the age of neoliberalism. And why neoliberalism came into existence? It came into existence only because of the development of the concept of globalization. So during 1970s, there was economic depression in the world economy. Unemployment and high economic inflation were the serious concerns for the state. High inflation means prices of the commodities are increases. Unemployment started rising in each and every country. So there is a negative picture throughout the world. The concept of welfare state was challenged by the emergence of those new economic crises. As those new economic crises had developed during the period of welfare, during the period when the states were acting as welfare units, so people have started challenging the activities of the welfare state. This condition, that means this negative condition, compels the thinkers to think once again on liberalism and led them to evolve. They thought that modern liberalism is also not correct, and that is why they thought for a new concept, and that one is known as neoliberalism. The neoliberalism revived the idea of the classical liberalism. That means less functions of the state, more freedom to the individual. That is the ideas of laissez-faire doctrine. Laissez-faire doctrine means individualistic state. That means state should not interfere on the day-to-day activities of the individual. The emergence of neoliberalism led the scholar to think on the globalization of economy. They were started thinking about globalization of economy. That means economy of various countries are interdependent, and in globalized economy, the state should play limited functions and the individual should be given full freedom in economic life, like classical liberalism. Already I told you that neoliberalism came into existence in the context of globalization, and all of us or all of you are little bit aware of the fact that what is globalization. Globalization, though it has various aspects, as mainly it is related with economic aspects. That means interdependence of the countries on economic field, and there is no trade barrier, there is liberalization. All the countries can maintain economic relation with other countries. So automatically multinational companies are coming, and nowadays states are not as active as it was during the period of modern liberalizations. So what are the features of neoliberalism? Like the classical liberalism, neoliberalism also emphasizes on the use of limited powers of the state. They not only interested to give power to the individual, they are also interested to give power to private companies also. Then the functions of the state should only be confined to law and order situation. So all of you are aware of the fact what classical liberalists were saying. So these are the similarities between classical liberalism and neoliberalism. that one of the important supporter of neoliberalism has emphasized on mixed economic policy, what we are following in our country. Mixed economic policy means public sector and private sector, or government sector and private sector will run together. He asserted that both public and private sector should have dominant rule in the economy of the state. So it is little different from that of classical liberalism. In classical liberalism, there is no scope for public enterprises. They said that government should not enjoy an economic power, but here they are saying that okay, both the sectors should work hand in hand. Then, like classical liberalism, the neoliberalism also considers the supremacy of the individual over the state. That means they are again saying the state is the means, not end. State has no end in itself. It is only a machinery to fulfill the desire of the individual. Then neoliberalism supports the concept of, already I told you, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Liberalization means everything should be open, there should not be any barrier in case of trade. Then there should be privatization. Now everything become privatized, even education and everything. Then globalization, that means interdependence of the country. That is in short known as LPG. LPG means liberalization, privatization and globalization. Then the liberalism is against the concept of welfare state. It is natural that they are against the concept of welfare state because they are against the concept of more power of the state. But if it is welfare state, it should have to perform, or the activities of the state should increase very much. So they are not in favor of more functions of the state. And the neoliberalist wants to make present parliamentary form of government more powerful in order to protect the rights of the individual. They sought state interference for the protection of the rights of the people. Here they are a little bit different from classical liberalism and more related with modern liberalism. They said that parliamentary government should be encouraged, it should be there, and it should be act as a protector of the rights of the people. Then according to neoliberalists, the sovereignty of the state should be limited. This is the most important question. Sovereignty of the state should be limited. That means we know that sovereign power is the supreme power of the state. But now what happened? All those rich countries, they are interfering on the economic life of the poor countries. Multinational companies are dictating the economic policies of the poor countries, and in that way actually the sovereignty of especially the poor countries are in question. Whether we are really sovereign country or not in the age of globalization, that is another question to discuss later on. So this is all about that theory of liberalism. There are three formations of liberalism: traditional concept or classical, then modern, and last one is neoliberal. And neoliberal and classical is somehow related with one another, and modern liberalism is little bit different from another, that too. But the concept of liberalism is that all of them are very much interested for the development of the individual, for the they also respect the state. Some may be regarded it as a machinery, some may be regarded that it has its own ends, but all of them are very much in favor of the existence of the state. No one said the state is not necessary. Okay, and all of them are very much interested for the protection of the rights of the individual. So these are some common factors in the theory of liberalism. So thank you, and now I will discuss little bit about feminism. Okay, wait for a while.